Welcome back to Views with Hughes, your agenda-free news. This is Jerome Hughes, and the Acolyte episode 3 has premiered last night and has a lot of people reacting to it. So basically, of course, we're going to have Disney shows coming forward and everything, including this one who is on X, who goes by Adam Romulus. He says, tonight's episode of the Acolyte will excite the Star Wars fan base in a way few things have in recent memory, I think. It's also going to make the piss babies or the pee babies whine and cry about and pee their pants live on their YouTube streams. It's going to be a wild night, y'all. Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, well, to be honest, people aren't really upset about it. As a matter of fact, they're glad it's happening because of the fact that they're seeing that in real time, the Acolyte is destroying the Star Wars franchise, proving us right. You know. But that's not the biggest factor here. And I'm going to address these things later on in today's video. But Forbes coming forth with the Acolyte episode 3 review, one of the most disappointing Star Wars episodes ever made. So this is the Acolyte episode 3 review, and it's going to send the internet into a frenzy, and especially Lucasfilm and Disney. All right. So, of course, you know, I'm not going to read the whole article verbatim. I will be leaving a link to the article itself, but I'm going to go over a few big points of it. And warning, this article does have spoilers and stuff. So if you haven't watched the episode yet and everything and you're looking forward to, just go ahead and skip ahead in the video. But if you don't care, you want to watch the spoilers, you want to listen to the spoilers just to get a good laugh, well, then by all means, stay tuned. Okay, so this is the episode that a lot of critics out there have been talking about before. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch the Acolyte. You know, matter of fact, I didn't watch the Acolyte episode 3, but from what I've heard from others who did, it's terrible. You know, let's be blunt. The Acolyte episode 3 is the worst Star Wars episode ever in any form, show, or animated series. Now, it's not just one of the worst Star Wars episodes. It's one of the worst TV episodes ever, one of the worst streaming episodes ever. And some people online are actually saying it was great. I mean, seriously? But thank goodness Forbes actually got it right, okay? Where it talks about the Acolyte episode 3 review, one of the worst Star Wars episodes ever made. And it came out right after the episode aired, okay? And they completely trashed the Acolyte episode 3. Now, the Acolyte episode 3 review tells us how the third episode of Disney Star Wars, The Acolyte, is a total embarrassment to the entire franchise itself, though a lot of Star Wars stuff these days are not much better except for Andor. And I agree with Forbes on this one when they said that, all right? But they also talk about the exchange between two characters of May and OSHA. May saying the Jedi are bad, OSHA saying the Jedi are good. And later, these same two characters, the twin protagonists / antagonists of the story, as children in this flashback episode, they say to one another, "What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?" Now, the Acolyte episode 3 was just plain ridiculous, and there are so many contradictions that it's hard to keep up with. You know, for instance, the Acolyte episode 3 shows how they start talking about the Force and everything, which is fine. But then the witch mother, whatever her name is, says something like, "We call it the thread, children. Some people call it the Force, but for us, it's the thread, and the thread controls your destiny." But then 20 minutes later, she goes, "The thread has nothing to do with your destiny." Really? The thread has nothing to do with your destiny. Your destiny. It's all about your choice. You get to choose what you just said. How does this make any sense? 1 minute, it's control your destiny. The next, it's all about personal choice. I mean, seriously. What? Who's writing this? Who's actually writing this? Who on this Lucasfilm story group is writing this, the Acolyte episode 3 right here? Because of the fact that the dialogue, it seems to me, from what I'm reading and seeing, it's trash. Okay? This is definitely trash. And the fact of the matter is, I hope this, I'm going to go ahead and continue on. So the Acolyte episode 3 was just plain ridiculous, okay? And there's so many contradictions like I told you all before. And then in the Acolyte episode 3, there's this whole thing about the thread or the Force being used as a weapon. At one point, they said it's never used as a weapon. 5 minutes later, guess what? It's being used as a weapon. And this is the Acolyte episode 3, people. This is the best that Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni can do. Seriously, what are we doing here? Okay, the writing is really inconsistent and bad, and it's too painful to watch. And matter of fact, it's giving me some Rings of Power vibes, if you ask me. And this is why the Acolyte is bad. The Acolyte is trash. The Acolyte is woke. The Acolyte is dead. The Acolyte is all lies, and the Acolyte is garbage. Okay. And then in Acolyte episode 3, we have the two girls who played like the two little girls and stuff, May and OSHA, played by the I don't know, but it's the same person, different girls, but bless their hearts. I'm sure that they did the best that they could with what they were given and stuff. I'm not trying to bash them, but many have said it was cringe-worthy, okay? And cringe-worthy childhood acting. It's not their fault, though. It's the only one, the person to blame here is the failed director and producer of the Acolyte episode 3, who didn't set them up for success, okay? And these poor young ladies now have to carry this on their resume, where they basically say, well, we were the Acolyte, and that's basically going to be the big shame, the black mark on their careers, because this show is turning out to be so terrible. Now, they may be successful in future projects if they're picked up for those, but what are people even watching now? This is just a big mess. And this is why the Acolyte is bad. You know, the Acolyte is trash. The Acolyte is woke. The Acolyte is dead. The Acolyte is all lies. And the Acolyte is garbage. But seriously, the Acolyte has the Acolyte episode 3 turning into a story about a lesbian group of witches and just 2 of them surviving. That's it. Okay, that's basically what the episode is about. That's basically the Acolyte episode 3. And that's what the Acolyte is also about. And I guarantee the whole thing between OSHA or whatever her name is and May will be like, they thought that the other was dead. And 16 years later, oh my gosh, they're still alive. But they're still blaming each other. It's your fault everyone died. No, it was your fault. In the end, they'll just probably ride off into the sunset together, saying all the cringeworthy stuff like, I am with you always. One born as 2, one as above the star, sits the stars, and below lies the sea. I give you you, and you give me me. Oh my goodness. But that's not all of the cringeworthy moments that I've heard of from the Acolyte episode 3. I told you this planet would be a safe haven for our group. It won't stay safe if OSHA keeps running away. I carried them. I created them. And what if the Jedi find out how you did it? And that's probably going to be, look, that's probably how Palpatine made Anakin. You know, that's the way, that's what they'll do. But just get ready, because they're going to let Leslie Headland decide how Anakin Skywalker was created. Okay, and this is why the Acolyte is bad. The Acolyte is trash, and y'all get what I'm saying here. But you never feel this, like you never feel like this. I promise. Forbes wrote in this the Acolyte episode 3 review that the whole episode is a bad joke. Okay, that's what they're writing in the article, that the Acolyte, the whole episode is a bad joke. And we learned that May and OSHA lived with their mothers in a society of lesbian witches, all of whom were female. And it seems like they were conceived using the Force or something. You know, the Force using witches are basically apparently frowned upon in the galaxy. And in the Acolyte episode 3, they call the Force the thread. And Forbes says that they're getting a dark side vibe, which I agree with. And the Jedi show up and they didn't like it. See, OSHA and May fight each other constantly, and they're very irritating throughout the episode. And a lot of people actually agree with the author of this article. So exactly why did Jedi Torben kill himself after a 10-year slumber or meditation? Well, he wakes up, feels guilty about something, and then drinks poison to kill himself. So May didn't have to kill him? What was that all about? None of it was actually explained. May started a fire, but did she really kill everyone, or are they going to make the Jedi look bad in the next episode? Now, something else happened. You know, there was like a bunch of bodies, all the witches dead on the ground, like they did some kind of mass suicide or something. But I think they're going to show with that in later episodes of the Acolyte. Now, this show, I mean, this is what $180 million look like, apparently. You know, this is what $180 million. What were they thinking? You know, this is awful. And I actually wonder what the critical review is going to say about the Acolyte episode 3. Okay. I wonder what they're going to say after this one, but probably the Disney show is still going to probably love it and stuff and love everything that Disney does. So that way they can go ahead and get their kickbacks and their other rewards from the company for saying good stuff about their bad content, you know, but there's a reason why the audience score is so low, and it's because of the fact that the show is actually turning into complete trash. All right. But the fact of the matter is, I've showed you all their posts from X and stuff from that guy who goes by Adam Romulus that says, you know, tonight's episode of The Acolyte will excite the Star Wars fan base in a way few things have in recent memory. I think it's also going to make the P babies whine and cry and pee their pants live on the YouTube streams. It's going to be a wild night, y'all. Now, the thing about that is hurling insults at the fans and stuff who are disappointed in seeing that another piece of Star Wars is not Star Wars. That's not going to be going. That's not going to go over for them. You know, it's not going to go over them for well. And you know what? We see it now. The Disney shows have come in full force to insult the original Star Wars fans, the OG fans and stuff, who see that this show does not have the same qualities that the trilogy's given them and stuff from George Lucas. And people are saying that, you know, the reason why people hate this show is because they hate gay people. We don't hate gay people. Okay, we just want the fact that the content, the IPs like Star Wars has been politicized. Okay, we don't want politics in our entertainment, period. All right. And Disney and Lucasfilm will boast about how many views that this episode has gotten and everything, but they're going to ignore how many people are not going to rewatch it. Okay. They're going to ignore that. They're not going to talk about that as well. And the fact of the matter is the Acolyte episode 3 has a lot of political messaging in it. Okay. And this is where the Disney shows will claim that, you know, women and people of color and stuff have gone through a lot and stuff when it comes to being part of the Star Wars community and stuff and Star Wars fandom. But in reality, there was always natural diversity of women, of different races, of like different like ideologies and everything. But then the thing is, those weren't much of a factor. It was just unity under the love of Star Wars. That's it. The George Lucas Star Wars and stuff. But now you just have a bunch of people out here who are activists and stuff, making this all about political projection for those who are pushing and promoting the whole DEI agenda. Okay. So yeah, am I mad? Nope. I was before, but seeing that, you know, this is what Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni wanted and stuff, even Bob Iger saying this is what they wanted, the Acolyte episode 3 is going to go ahead and bring the further destruction to the current state of Lucasfilm. Okay, and I'm all for it. I'm not going to celebrate the loss of Kathleen Kennedy and also of Leslie Headland and even Bob Iger because, well, as a man of faith myself, I'm not supposed to be doing that. But I will be enjoying the downfall of this current state of Star Wars because of the fact that it's showing that this is not what the fans wanted. Okay, we don't want this. The OG fans are going to still be the fans of the George Lucas stuff, whether it be the originals, prequels, or even the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, as well as the first season of Andor. All right. But let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, how do you think that this is going to fare out? Do you think it's going to be successful? Do you think it's going to flop? Or what? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts on this particular topic from the video. If you enjoyed what I shared this video, go ahead, smash the like button, share far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already and you enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.